Hi everyone, it's Stella Grizont from WUPA and we're doing Work Happier Weekly. Woohoo! So I'm here to help you work happier, live better. And in case you don't know me or you don't know that much about me, I'm a positive psychology expert. It's kind of weird to call yourself an expert sometimes, but I know a lot about it. And also an executive coach. And I've worked with over 1,400 leaders across 24 countries and over the past 14 or so years. So I've done my share of helping folks elevate their careers and really find a way to live a fulfilling life. And today, hey you guys, today I want to talk to you about when you're thinking about a new career, a new job, a new role, what do you need to do in order to make sure it's the right move for you, right? Because the worst thing that could happen is that you start a new role, you move to a new team, you change companies, or even completely leave your career where you've probably been really successful, only to find out you're still feeling crappy and miserable. Like that's the worst case scenario, right? We do not want that. That's like probably your biggest fear. And so the reason why I want to talk to you today about what to ask in an informational interview is because it's so important for you to do the due diligence. It's so important for you to get information before you make any risky moves or leaps. And I know if you happen to be in a situation right now where you're feeling miserable, you wake up with dread, you're not excited about what's ahead. If any of that is your situation, anything probably sounds better than where you're going to work in the morning. And I totally get that. So there's a desire to just escape. And so even taking a job that may be kind of similar, but maybe with a new team feels like it could do the trick. But the thing is, no matter where you work, there you are. And so whatever might be a struggle for you in this current position may end up showing up in your next situation. And so what we really want to deal with and what we really want to address is the root of what's happening and making sure that wherever you go next, you don't carry that with you. And that's the importance of doing your informational interviews. So with that said, before you do your informational interviews, what's really important, the very first thing that I have my clients do is an exercise called the vision generator. So if you guys haven't done that, I'm going to go ahead and give you a free, go to visiongenerator.com. And that's a free exercise where you are prompted to fill in the blank to start to articulate how is it that you want to be at work? How do you want to feel at work? And the reason why I want you to fill this out and do this first is because it's your next move. Yes, it's about figuring out what you want to do, but more importantly, it's about you getting to feel and be how you want to be. Because no matter what that title is or the money or the responsibilities, if you still wake up with dread, then we haven't solved the issue. So that's why the very first thing I want you to do is to get clear on how you want to feel and how you want to be. When you work with me and you do the work happiness method, which is my 8-week coaching program, we take that much further. And what we do is we get clear on your values. Your values are the guardrails that guide your actions, your behaviors, your decisions, your choices to keep you in the right lane, to keep you steadily moving towards your vision, which is that articulation of you and your most alive self. So with that said, once you're clear on how you want to be and what your values are, the next thing you want to do is start booking those informational interviews. So how do you even do that? And by the way, like, what is an informational interview? So let's just start there. An informational interview is not a job interview. It's a chance for you to learn and explore about a potential role or career. And so the expectation is that you're not there to ask for a job, although a lot of times, people are. It's a great way to network. But you don't want to put any pressure on yourself or on the other person for a specific job. So you're just going in there to learn. And I think that is one of the best things you can do for yourself, is to take the pressure off. And often when my clients are embarking on figuring out what they want to do, especially if it's a whole new career, one of the things that's really hard is that you don't know what to say. You don't know how to describe that you don't know what the hell you want to do. And that can feel really alarming. That can make you feel insecure. That can make you just hesitate from actually putting yourself out there, because when people ask you, okay, so what do you want to do? You don't even know what to say. And saying, I don't know, might feel a little awkward. So here's some language for you, okay? So what I like to say is that when clients work with me, we go through two stages. We go through an inner discovery process, which is where you get clear on your vision and your values and your boundaries and how you want to be and show up at work. That's an inner conversation. And then you do what I call outer discovery. And that's when you actually are out there talking to people, Googling things, and really learning more about new possibilities. So when someone asks you, hey, like, so what are you looking to do? Or what's next for you? You can just say, actually right now, I'm in a total discovery process. I am just learning about all the possibilities and giving myself a chance to really think bigger than I've ever let myself think before. So that is a lot more empowering than like, oh, I don't know, or, you could just say like, I'm giving myself this window of time, which I've never given to myself, to just learn and explore without putting any pressure on. And when you do that, when you say that to other people, they're going to get inspired. So a lot of my clients feel in the beginning a little hesitant to go out there and do informational interviews, ask for them. It feels uncomfortable asking other people for their help. And just know that by you engaging in this process of wanting to match your talent and your gifts and your strengths and your passion with a way that you can make impact in this world, and you're being willing to do the work to figure that out, that's inspirational. And if you're willing to share that process with someone, they're going to be inspired. They're going to be thanking you for sharing that this is what you're doing, because they're going to realize, oh crap, I kind of need to do that too, because we all could, use that. So with that said, if anyone hits you up with, okay, so what's next for you? You could just say like, right now, I'm just in a discovery process, okay? So, all right, so now it's time for you to set up some informational interviews. I always suggest that you start with people who love you unconditionally and with people you feel completely safe with. By the way, let me just pause for a second, because I don't think this is sharing to my Whoopa page, and I really want to make sure it is. Okay. Hopefully we're sharing it to Whoopa. Anyway, okay. So how do you set up an informational interview? Start with the people that you feel most safe with. And so what I would do is open up a Google Excel sheet or whatever Excel, or a blank piece of paper, okay? And just start writing down names. Write down as many names as you can think of. People that you love, people in your family, people that you've worked with that you really like, old colleagues, old bosses, old classmates, alumni networks. Those are all places that you can dip into to set up informational interviews. All right. Now, I know this sounds so basic, but it's so easy for us to forget that, oh my God, we actually have so many people we can talk to. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, my mom doesn't know anyone who's an engineer in vertical farming, right? Yeah, but you don't know who your mom is friends with and who her children are. And so it's not about seeking out people who you can directly have informational interviews with, which is great if you already know them. It's actually about you letting the world know this is the criteria of what I'm trying to learn. Do you know anyone who might lead me to learning more about that? Okay, so in your first, I say do email blasts because you don't have all day, and this is about quantity at first in terms of communication. Even sometimes the people who love you the most might be busy. Life happens. And so they might not see your email or they might not have a chance to reply. So you really want to go for quantity. So at least 10 people that you care about, that you feel safe with, blast them with an email and say, I'm embarking on an exciting discovery journey. Thanks, Lauren. I'm embarking on an exciting discovery journey, and I am looking to learn about opportunities that. And here's the thing, when you're sending this email, people do not read emails anymore. They scan, right? We have the attention span of a goldfish now, right? So when you make things bold, say, can you help me? Can you connect me with people who? And then in bullet points, describe the criteria of what it is that you're looking for. I'm looking for people who work in engineering, people who work in vertical farming, people who do UX design. I'm looking for anyone who does anything creative and actually is successful and can pay their bills with it. It really depends on whatever criteria you have. Now, the reason why I told you in the first place to do your vision and values is because that's going to inform your criteria. That stuff needs to go in there. So if you haven't done the vision generator, start there, people, because you need to get clear on how you want to feel and be, and that should be part of forming what you're looking for, and also your filter for saying yes and no to leaning into discovering more about particular paths. Okay, so you sent out a blast. By the way, the people you least expect are going to be of the biggest support, so you never know, so just email. And then after you've done your first 10, start expanding that list. Like, I want your list to be like at least 50 people. Trust me, you know 50 people. It could be your friends' kids' parents. It could be, again, your alumni network. Your alumni network is probably like 1,000 people. Maybe there's a listserv that you're on that has to do with your profession. So even Facebook. Facebook is great. You know, you can post there. I've had a lot of clients with success on that. So you've sent out your blast. Let's say you've scheduled your informational interviews. Here are 12 basic questions that I want you to be asking. Now, these are what I call basic questions because they're good for everyone. The questions that you need to work on specifically for you are the ones that respond directly to your values. They're the ones that will ensure that this is a place where, yes, I feel like I can be activated, where I can contribute my most, where I feel like I'm at home, where I can be my best self. And to help you come up with those questions, your vision and your values will help inform you on what those specifically are. Okay, so hey, you guys, I'm seeing so many new names. I'm loving it. All right, so let's jump to those questions. I had them written down somewhere. All right, here we go. So when you're doing an informational interview, by the way, it's best if you can do them in person or at least on the phone. Like I once heard someone saying they texted back and forth. Do not do that. All right, so you're on the phone. Maybe you're Zoom. Zoom is even better if you can't do a in person, because it's not just about you getting information. It's about you building a relationship. This person you're talking with can be a real advocate for you, and if they're giving you their time, they really want to help. So question number 1, tell me your story. How did you end up choosing this role, this career, this industry, this company? So you want to open with them talking about themselves. One, it just helps build rapport because it shows that you care about this person, and it will give you additional good context and content. Now, if anyone during a informational interview starts going off the rails, is talking about their high school football career a little too long, what you can do is you can just say, oh my God, this is so fascinating. But can I press pause on this because I'm really valuing your time and I have so many questions to get through. Would it be okay if we just switched gears? Or you can say, I mean, I kind of did that in a sarcastic way. Don't be sarcastic. But you could also say something like, this is really fascinating. I'm just read it. This is really fascinating. I really want to honor your time. Is it okay if we switch gears? Or can I pause that and can we look at this? So don't be afraid to interrupt people if you feel like the conversation has gone off the rails, because you don't have that much time and you can't really do this over again. All right. So then this question you all know, like, what's a typical day like? So you want to understand, what does that look like? I once spoke to a chemical engineer who decided she wanted to be a teacher because she hated her job so much. And then she called me after she was a teacher and she's like, oh my God, I really hate teaching. And she's like, this is so much administrative work. And I'm like, yeah, that would have been a really good thing for you to ask any other teacher what her day is like, because that probably would have become apparent really quickly. So just ask what a traditional day is like, and then ask, what's most energizing about what you do? What's most energizing? I also like to ask, what's a bit draining? Because you want to know, it's sometimes people are really positive or they don't want to give you the real deal. So if you ask what's a bit draining, that kind of can start to give them some space to talk about that. This is really good if you're considering maybe a new company and you want to learn about that company or a particular type of role. You might also want to ask, what did you wish you knew before you started this project, this role, this job, this career? I love that question. Where do you see this field, this company, this industry going? What skills are essential to excel here? Okay. How might I develop these skills? How is success defined and typically measured? This is really important, especially if you're someone who likes to have very specific, clear expectations, which who doesn't? Like, most of us do need those things. And sometimes a potential team or manager may not be very good at that, or they don't really value that. You kind of fend for yourself and you never know quite how you're doing. So you want to kind of dig in if that's very important to you, like, how do you measure success? How is it defined for you? All that. How have you seen people from different backgrounds break into this type of work? So if you're switching careers, that's really good to ask. Where do you see this role, field going in the next 5 years? What's the vibe and the culture like here? Okay, so those are 12 questions, but I can go on. But you might want to ask questions about leadership. You might want to ask about how supported are you by your colleagues and by your leaders. You might want to ask, like, so those are like generic questions. But again, you guys, the most important questions are going to be the ones that relate back to your values. So if one of your values is around flexibility, you want to ask something like, talk to me about the culture of work-life balance here, or flexibility here. Can people work from home? Talk to me about if creativity is important. How do you guys generate ideas? Is there space to play? How is failure treated here? Maybe not how is failure treated, but how do you encourage people to think bigger? If one of your values is around having a seat at the table and you're a leader and it's really important for you to get a sense of other leadership and how they hear one another out, then you might want to ask something about, how are decisions made here? So you get where I'm going? So the most important thing when it comes to doing an informational interview, I'm going to recap. This one's kind of gone a little bit long, but I think it's important. So the first thing you want to do, you guys, is to get clear on how you want to feel and be during the day. And you can do the vision generator to help you with that, visiongenerator.com. It's a free exercise. Once you do that, then what you want to do is have that as fodder for some of the criteria that you want to start letting the world know that you want to experience, okay? And then whatever clues you have, because if you don't know what's next for you, you don't know, and that's okay. You might just want to say, I'm on this discovery journey. I don't really know what's next, but I'm really open to possibilities. Here's kind of what I know in terms of criteria. I want to be in a place that values creativity. I want to be in a small to mid-sized firm. I want to be in New York. Like whatever, I want to be in a technology company that has a level of consciousness about it. Like whatever you know, you put that in there in a bullet form list and say, do you know anyone I can talk to that can just share more about what it would be like to work at a company that has any of these criteria? Then you open up, you talk about, you try to get this person's story, you get what's energizing about what they do, what's draining, you ask all those questions we just went through, and you also make sure you really ask about the things that are most important to you, because that's what matters. And when you get a red flag, make sure you write it down. Sometimes when we're not happy, we look the other way and we know those red flags are there. So make sure that you really pay attention to those red flags, because those are legit. And what else did I want to say? And then, once you're done with your informational interview, thank the person and give them feedback. Say, this has been so helpful. I've just learned about X, Y, and Z, or you taught me X, Y, and Z, or I'm so grateful for hearing your story. It's really inspired me. I'm really excited to continue exploring. And always ask, hey, is there anyone you think I should talk to given my interests in A, B, and C? So there you have it, you guys. I hope that was helpful. And if you want support and you don't want to do this alone and you are ready to make a big move and you want this move to be a conscious move, you don't want just another job, you want the right job, you want the right career, and you want to do this in the most efficient, smart way possible, then reach out, let's have a call, and let's explore potentially working together. And if you want to explore that, you can set up a call with me here. workhappinessmethod.com/apply. Okay. With that said, I have some podcast interviews that I did that are coming out this week, and you can hear, I did one with Biz Library. It's called How to Master Difficult Conversations, and I did one with, it's called the Growth Mindset Podcast, where we talk about the science of happiness. What does it mean to live the life worth living? And then I have some other things coming up. But if you're on my newsletter, you should have gotten an email today. And if not, join my newsletter. When you sign up for the Vision Generator, you automatically join my newsletter. And that way I can keep you posted on all the talks and the things I have going on that you can be a part of. So thank you so much and have a great night. And keep me posted if you do informational interviews and they went really well or not. Just let me know. I'd love to hear, how, if at all, this has impacted you. Okay? All right. Good night.